Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. BSP keeps up pressure on Union Minister VK Singh in the Rajya Sabha. Party Chief Mayawati seeks his dismissal from Union Cabinet for alleged anti-Dalit remarks. Samajwadi Party takes on RSS chief for comment on Ram Temple. Party stages protest for what it calls attempt to communalize the atmosphere. Chennai continues to battle heavy floods, thousands stranded without food or electricity. Relief teams work round the clock to retrieve the situation. Delhi government suggests way out for smog-filled national capital, proposes that odd and even number cars should fly on alternate days. And Delhi Assembly passes the Jan Lokpal Bill. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal says party has fulfilled Anna Hazare's wishes. Bill has to be now cleared by the Lieutenant Governor and the centre before it becomes a law. Well, BSP members unleashed a scathing attack on Union Minister VK Singh in the Rajya Sabha on Friday for his alleged anti-Dalit remarks. BSP Chief Mayawati pressed for his ouster from the Union Cabinet, a demand backed by the Congress. The government, however, stressed that these remarks were not laden with anti-Dalit sentiments.
Union Minister VK Singh was at the centre of the ruckus in Rajya Sabha for a second consecutive day on Friday. The BSP upped the ante against the Minister of State for External Affairs for his contentious dog analogy in the wake of the killing of 2 Dalit children in Haryana. BSP Chief Mayawati demanded that Singh be sacked immediately.
श्री VK सिंह के मामले में दलित प्रकरण को लेकर सरकार का जो रवैया हमें देखने के लिए मिला है, तो अति दुखद व अति चिंताजनक भी है.
The Congress party also joined ranks with the BSP and launched an offensive against VK Singh. Leader of opposition in the House, Ghulam Nabi Azad, urged the Prime Minister to take action against Singh.
एक मंत्री मिस्टर VK सिंह जी अगर उस पीड़ित दलित बच्चों की हत्या को बजाय उसको कंडम करने के लिए उसको दलित से कुत्तों के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं, उस मंत्री को एक पल भी मंत्रिमंडल का साथी नहीं होना चाहिए, बल्कि उसे पार्लियामेंट का मेंबर भी नहीं होना चाहिए.
MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, however, attempted to shield the former army chief, saying he never meant to disrespect Dalits. Naqvi also reiterated the government's pro-Dalit stance.
VK सिंह जी ने बार-बार इस बात को स्पष्ट किया है कि उन्होंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा है जो किसी भी दलित समाज के अपमान का कारण हो.
The proceedings of the House were stalled amid protests from BSP members, with the question hour also being washed out. The BSP members stormed into the well, leading to several adjournments. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, also in the Rajya Sabha, the Samajwadi Party expressed its anger at the reported comments of RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat on the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. The SP accused the government of vitiating the secular environment of the country. The government, however, denied the charge.
As soon as the House met for the day, SPMP Naresh Agarwal was on his feet, raising the reported statement of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh Chief Mohan Bhagwat on the construction of a Ram temple. Party leader Ram Gopal Yadav pointed out that the case was still pending in the courts. He alleged that a communally sensitive situation was being fomented.
तनाव की स्थिति पैदा की जा रही है, ये बहुत ही खतरनाक है. देश की एकता और अखंडता के लिए बहुत खतरनाक है. न्यायालय में लंबित होने के बाद भी बेरोक को RSS चीफ का बयान देना ये दर्शाता है कि सरकार की मिलीभगत के तहत ही ये सब किया जा रहा है.
MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi rushed to the government's defence. He said that top court's decision will be supreme, but insisted that citizens have a fundamental right to reiterate their commitment for the construction of a Ram temple.
राम मंदिर के निर्माण का मुद्दा और उस मुद्दे पर का विवाद जो है वो माननीय न्यायालय में है और न्यायालय के निर्णय का हम सब सम्मान करते हैं, हम सबको सम्मान करना चाहिए. जहां तक राम मंदिर के निर्माण के संकल्प की बात है, उस संकल्प को दोहराने का सबको अधिकार है और वो संकल्प को दोहराने का उनको उनको जो है वो फंडामेंटल राइट है।
SP members reached the well blaming the government and the RSS. Congress members also lent support to their demand. The SP's protests, coupled with the BSP's attack on VK Singh, forced several adjournments.
आनंद भास्कर रावलू।
Mohan Bhagwat had reportedly stated it was time to prepare the ground to build Ram Temple in Ayodhya. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday said his government was taking states on board for development of the country. He told an audience in Delhi at an event in the national capital that the main focus of his government was implementing the NDA government's initiatives and schemes. Delivering the inaugural address, the Prime Minister put states first, while insisting that Delhi alone can't be the sole mover.
भारत को आगे बढ़ना है तो दिल्ली से देश आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता है। राज्य और दिल्ली दोनों मिलकर के कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर के चले, एक दिशा में चले, गति समान बनाने की कोशिश करें, परिणाम अपने आप निकल आएंगे।
In a 40-minute-long speech that was replete with humor, Modi reaffirmed India's status as one of the fastest-growing economies in the world.
आज जो वैश्विक परिस्थिति है, उसमें बाय एंड लार्ज इस बात को स्वीकृति मिली हुई है कि दुनिया की बड़ी इकोनॉमीज में भारत सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़ने वाला देश है। और जब भारत सबसे आगे बढ़ने वाला देश माना गया है, तो दूसरी तरफ देखें तो विश्व की स्थिति पूरी तरह स्लो डाउन की है।
Talking about MOUs signed with 100 cities to promote LED lights, the Prime Minister claimed it will save 21,500 megawatts of power.
जिस दिन ये 100 शहरों का काम पूरा हो जाएगा LED का, उस दिन इस देश में 21,500 मेगावाट बिजली बचेगी। 21,000 मेगावाट बिजली अगर मोदी कारखाना लगाता है तो हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स में तो मैंने वो भाग्य होगा नहीं, मैं नहीं कह सकता हूं, लेकिन किसी न किसी अखबार में तो हेडलाइन हो जाती है कि मोदी ने 21,500 मेगावाट का बिजली का कारखाना लगा दिया। क्योंकि हमने वो सोचा है 21,500 मेगावाट बिजली का कारखाना है ना, 1.25 लाख करोड़ रुपया का इन्वेस्टमेंट, मतलब कि देश का 1.25 लाख करोड़ रुपया बच गया।
Modi, who led the BJP to a massive victory in the 2014 general elections, also gave credit to the people for giving the NDA a clear mandate. He said a stable government was necessary for economic growth. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav claimed a Samajwadi Party alliance with the Congress was possible if his father Mulayam Singh was projected as the Prime Minister with Rahul Gandhi as his deputy. Akhilesh was responding to a question at the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit. He was asked if his party will be open to an alliance with the Congress in the next national election. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi, who was in the audience, seemed to make light of the comment. Akhilesh also ruled out any possibility of any alliance with the BJP.
इसलिए हम लोगों को भूल जाना चाहिए कौन क्या खाता है, कौन क्या बोलता है, कौन क्या पहनता है। अगर देश की तरक्की चाहते हैं, मैं समाजवादी हूं और आप ये कहते हो कि नेताजी की मैं डांट सुनता हूं, तो मैं भी चाहूंगा कि नेताजी को भी कुछ उनके भी सपने पूरे हों, उनके भी काम करूं। वो प्रधानमंत्री लेके ये उप प्रधानमंत्री बन जाए, मैं सहमत हूं इनके साथ, मैं सहमत हूं, मैं अभी गठबंधन बना दूंगा।
Well, Chennai experienced some relief after days of heavy rain, with a lull in rainfall leading to reduced water levels in the city. But the Tamil Nadu capital continues to be cut off from the rest of the country. Essential commodities are hard to come by, even though Army and Air Force personnel are trying to bridge that gap. Here's more.
Flood-battered Chennai breathed a sigh of relief on Friday as a break in rain overnight brought down water levels. Water level in both the Adayar and Kumbh rivers came down, easing large-scale flooding. Chennai is likely to receive intermittent rain over the next 24 hours, even as coastal and interior Tamil Nadu is likely to receive more rain.
Chennai is unlikely to get any heavy rainfall, although the heavy rainfall of the order of 70 millimeter or 80 millimeter, this type of rainfall will continue over Kudalur, Nagapattinam and Puducherry districts over the next 48 hours. After 48 hours, We are expecting a bit increase in the rainfall over Chennai, means in the districts of North Coastal Tamil Nadu also, but still it will not be very heavy.
Even though most of the capital city is without power, it was restored in several areas that were not waterlogged. The communication network has also improved. But Chennai city still remains cut off from the rest of the country, with all air, rail and road transport services suspended. There is no public transport to speak of.
We have no water supply and power supply for the last thing. We are suffering very lot for doing the bank job. Bank work, being a service branch, we have to do all the things.
Southern Railway has cancelled all interstate and intrastate train services till Saturday. The airport too will stay shut till Sunday. The Grand Southern Trunk Road linking Chennai with Madurai and beyond is also cut off after several breaches in Kanchipuram. Prices of milk, vegetables and food items are sky high as essential commodities are hard to come by. The Indian Air Force and the Army is trying to close the gap between demand and supply, but it is clearly not enough, seeing the devastation that has been wreaked on the state. If the situation improved a little in Chennai, the coastal district of Cuddalore got no such reprieve. It is one of the worst affected areas still and continues to receive heavy rainfall. Fishermen have been warned not to go to sea. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Chennai continues to reel under heavy floods following record-breaking rainfall and overflowing lakes. Thousands were left homeless or stranded in their homes without food or electricity. Telephone services too took a hit in many areas. Relief and rescue teams have been working round the clock, but the situation is still grim. Here's more. Water levels receded in Chennai after a pause in heavy rainfall, giving rescue teams a chance to step up operations to evacuate people stranded across the city. The military evacuated more than 2,000 residents stranded in the city on Thursday as the death toll from the flooding crossed 280.
We've got all the boats on which our personnel, along with ready-to-eat meals and water supplies, will be deployed in the flood-affected areas. We are right now intending to deploy north of Adyar River and move south towards the river and provide these relief material to the personnel marooned or stranded in the waterlogged regions of the city.
Director General of the NDRF, O.P. Singh, said that the rescue teams plan to reach out to the stranded people across Chennai as they have found some dry ground.
इंटेंसिटी ऑफ रेन है वो रिड्यूस कर गया है और हमारी टीम आज एग्रेसिवली उन सभी इलाकों में जाएगी जहां पे लोग अभी भी फंसे हुए हैं. वैसे उनकी संख्या बहुत कम है, लेकिन वाटर लॉगिंग है, रेन नहीं है फिर भी वाटर लॉगिंग है, उसके कारण लोगों को समस्याएं हो रही हैं.
The floods have cut off more than 3 million people from basic services and hampered rescue efforts. City authorities deployed bulldozers and bags of concrete to repair collapsed roads, while several bridges were underwater as urban lakes in the low-lying coastal city overflowed.
अभी बहुत सुधार हुआ है. उन इलाकों में जहां पानी नहीं जमा हुआ है वहां पावर रेस्टोरेशन हुआ है. कम्युनिकेशंस नेटवर्क में भी सुधार हुआ है. पिछले कई घंटों से हम अपने ऑफिसर्स से बहुत अच्छी तरह बात कर पा रहे हैं, हम अपने टीम लीडर्स से बात कर पा रहे हैं और कई ऐसे जगह हैं जहां पे सूख गई हैं, पानी नहीं है वहां पे और पानी के स्तर में, जल के स्तर में भी काफी गिरावट आई है.
Even as the weather cleared, water rose in many residential areas, fed by spills from 35 lakes that have risen to dangerous levels. Experts say haphazard construction work, faulty drainage and a build-up of garbage had contributed to the flooding. More than 5,000 houses were underwater, with many people still trapped on rooftops while others crowded in relief camps. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, it's time for a short break now, but still to come, India joins a list of countries to be threatened by Islamic State. That and much more still to come. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
After the deluge, a struggle to get back on track. Chennai stares at challenges ahead. Is the worst still to come? Watch the big picture at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, taking a cue from Beijing and Paris and following a slamming from the High Court, the Delhi government has decided to allow vehicles with odd and even number plates on alternate days only. The drastic measure to check air pollution will come into effect on January 1st next year. Even as green experts hailed the government's decision, its political opponents were not that generous.
It's a radical step, to say the least, but one that was desperately needed. To curb the alarming air pollution in the national capital, the Delhi government has decided to enforce the odd-even formula for private vehicles in Delhi. This essentially means that come January 1st, 2016, private vehicles bearing odd and even number plates will be allowed on the roads on alternate days only.
We will implement for some time odd and even number of vehicles operation beginning from, we'll make all efforts to start it from the 1st of January. Now, to make it possible, you have understood this thing, that is an odd number of vehicles ply on a particular day and even number of vehicles ply on another day.
The measures announced after an emergency meeting chaired by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal will take a lot of planning before they can be implemented. On Thursday, the Delhi High Court had compared Delhi to a gas chamber, referring to the rapidly deteriorating air quality in the city.
Massive greening plan जो है horticulture का और urban forestry का, वो PWD शुरू करेगी. ये जल्दी से शुरू हो जाएगा because this will take less time than the vacuum cleaning. So next 3-4 हफ्ते के अंदर में PWD will start taking, so that जो कच्चा patches road के हैं जहाँ से dust generate होती है उनको सारा cover किया जाएगा.
But the move has not been welcomed by all. While the Congress party calls the measure anti-people, BJP is taking a more cautious stand and questioning its practicality.
Government must brainstorm and think a little more about it and try to find out a little more pragmatic solution which is practically implementable.
ये आम आदमी को परेशान करने का और सुर्खियां बटोरने का ये काम है, ये जन विरोधी काम है. इसलिए एमएलए नहीं इस पर प्रभावित होंगे, एमपी मंत्री नहीं प्रभावित होंगे, सरकारी पदाधिकारी नहीं प्रभावित होंगे और आम आदमी प्रभावित होगा. पॉल्यूशन कम कंट्रोल करने के लिए आप दूसरे मापदंड खड़े कीजिए और आप लोगों को, आम आदमी को परेशानी में डाल रहे हैं.
इट्स अ गुड इनिशिएटिव, एटलीस्ट अ स्टेप फॉरवर्ड. मेन और आइडियाज आएंगे तो मे बी और सिचुएशन इंप्रूव होगी एंड आई एम रेडी टू फॉलो दिस.
हो सकता है, इसमें पॉसिबल हो सकता है कि और देशों में भी है सर, ऐसा है और देशों में भी हो सकता है, ये व्यवहारिक तो है.
Delhi will not be the first city to implement this formula. It has earlier been implemented in Beijing and Paris to some success. We will have to see how successful it is in Delhi. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Delhi government today passed the Jan Lokpal bill. The bill has to be now cleared by the Lieutenant Governor and the centre before it becomes a law. The anti-corruption bill was the biggest election promise of the Aam Aadmi Party. It was tabled in the Assembly on Monday, 9 months after the Arvind Kejriwal government came to power in Delhi. The party denied allegations by former members that it had vastly deviated from the original version of the bill. The Aam Aadmi Party leaders called it the most effective and independent one in India's history. Provisions of the bill allow for protection of whistleblowers and detailed powers of the Lokpal. The Lokpal is empowered with provisions of civil courts that allowed its powers to take up issues either suo motu or based on complaints. Well, India has joined the list of countries that have been threatened by the Islamic State. In a latest series of e-books titled Black Flags from the Islamic State, the terror group said that it will expand its presence in India. One of them also targeted Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling him a right-wing Hindu nationalist. It further claimed that a movement of Hindus who kill beef-eating Muslims is growing in India. The book claimed that the Paris attacks were based on the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Around 150 Indians are under surveillance for alleged online links with the Islamic State. Home Ministry officials had earlier spoken of 23 men joining the Islamic State, of whom 6 were reportedly killed. Let's get you a roundup of the other news from across the country in Nationwide. India is finalizing plans to order 3 more French Scorpion submarines after the first 6 are built at Mazagaon docks. A tender will also be issued for 6 new generation stealth submarines by next year. Meanwhile, military force levels and infrastructure in the strategically located Andaman and Nicobar Command is being cranked up to counter China's strategic moves. A Delhi court refused to accept a CBI closure report on Congress leader Jagdish Titler that gives him a clean chit. The agency was ordered to conduct further investigation into the 1984 anti-Sikh riots case. This was the CBI's second closure report that said there was no sufficient evidence to proceed against Titler. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today said that he was not concerned of sticking to fiscal deficit targets despite the additional cost of implementing the 7th Pay Commission. However, he admitted that the impact of an additional 1.02 lakh crores burden will last for 2 to 3 years. Well, India expressed satisfaction over the first draft of the climate change accord released in Paris today. Key negotiator at the UN Climate Summit, Ajay Mathur, said that the global community had retained almost all of India's inputs. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon also claimed that there has been much progress in the talks.
Ahead of a climate deal, negotiators released a complex 54-page draft accord, even as they debate no less than 250 undecided points on cutting global carbon emissions. With all its inputs finding space in the draft agreement, India sought global support to bring down the cost of renewable power to reduce reliance on coal. However, financing is now the hot topic. India rejected attempts to force developing countries to contribute money for climate finance. The major sticking point is how to come up with the billions of dollars needed to finance clean energy sources at a time when emerging countries are on the road to development. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon said that the world's leading economies must keep their promises to raise $100 billion for climate financing by 2020.
In the negotiating room, there is still a lot of work to do. Key issues remain unresolved, and there is not much time left. I continue to press the developed countries to recognize their responsibility to take the lead, while urging developing countries to do more in line with their growing capabilities.
The negotiation text will now be consolidated and handed over to the presidency, after which further negotiations will be on unresolved issues. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, 2 days after the California shooting, US officials are now looking at possible terror links to the attack. President Barack Obama said extremist ideologies might have motivated the killings, but they are still unclear of a motive. A US intelligence official said California gunman Syed Rizwan Farook was in contact with known Islamic extremists on social media. They also found bombs, weapons and thousands of rounds of ammunition in his house. Investigators say that Farook and his wife Tashfeen Malik were planning another attack. In some more international news now, in a historic move to strike down gender differences, the Pentagon announced it will open all military combat positions to women. Overriding Marine Corps' objections, US Defense Secretary Ash Carter said women will be allowed to compete for all military jobs, including frontline combat posts. There would be no social quota system. All positions would be filled entirely based on merit. The new decision will be in place after a 30-day waiting period required by law. It comes 3 years after the Pentagon first eliminated its ban on women serving in frontline combat roles. Here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. 16 people were killed in Egypt's capital, Cairo, after firebombs were thrown into a restaurant in the city centre. Media reports say 3 masked men threw the devices into the venue before fleeing. One official said one of the attackers was an employee, earlier fired from the restaurant. On Wednesday, Cameroon's army killed at least 100 members of the Boko Haram group and freed 900 people being held hostage. The hostages were residents of villages taken over by Boko Haram. It is not clear if they included any of the 200 school children kidnapped last year. The Paris cafe targeted during the terror attack on the city last month has reopened. The cafe was among numerous sites across the city chosen by gunmen as they went on a shooting rampage during the night of November 13. 130 people were killed in the attacks. 10 people from Syria with links to IS have arrived in Thailand to stage attacks on Russians in the country. In a document dated last month, Thai police urged heightened security in areas that Russian authorities were concerned about. The document cited Russian intelligence for the information. Australia's parliament has passed a law to strip dual nationals of their citizenship if they are convicted of terrorism. Attorney General Brandis has said the changes were necessary given the current threat situation. Security services believe at least half of the 100 Australians fighting for IS hold dual nationality. Moving on to some sports news now. With an overall lead of 213 runs, India is in a commanding position in the fourth and final test against South Africa. India bowled out South Africa for 121 runs in their first innings on day 2. Ravindra Jadeja recorded his fourth 5-wicket haul in tests as India bundled out the Proteas in less than 50 overs. Ravichandran Ashwin and Umesh Yadav took 2 wickets each while Ishant Sharma chipped in with 1. AB de Villiers top scored for South Africa with a gritty 42, but the rest of the South African batting failed to apply themselves on a turning wicket. Earlier, India were all out for 334 in their first innings in the post-lunch session. Ajinkya Rahane struck his 5th Test 100 to score 127 of 215 balls, whereas Ravichandran Ashwin hit his 6th Test 50. Let's now bring you a roundup of the other sports news in Sports Beat. Ace Indian shuttler Saina Nehwal has been nominated for the Woman Player of the Year award of the Badminton World Federation after a consistent season. Ranked number 2, Saina will vie for the coveted honour with world number 1 Carolina Marin of Spain, the 2014 winner Zhao Yunli of China and another Chinese Bao Yixin. India's ace male shuttler Kidambi Srikanth advanced to the semi-finals of the Indonesian Open. Srikanth defeated Malaysia's Tek Ji Su 21-10, 21-5 in just 24 minutes. He will next face Indonesia's Ginting Antony in the semis. Meanwhile, PV Sindhu suffered an unexpected 21-23, 13-21 loss against China's He Biangzhou. Indian men's team has reached the semi-finals of the Hockey World League finals, beating Great Britain 2-1. VR Raghunath opened the scoring for the hosts in the 19th minute. Later, Talvinder Singh scored another to take the lead to 2-0. In the semi-finals, India will take on Belgium as they beat Argentina by an identical margin in the other quarter-final match. Well, that's it on this edition of the News Tonight. Have a good night.